pa 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 ella, ella, pa 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 ella,
Hello and welcome to Locally New England. I'm Joe Guarnieri. Locally New England is a show that brings you local lifestyle insights, marquee events, and business profiles. Up first, we'll sit down with Trinity Rep to talk about A Christmas Carol and what else they have coming up in 2025. All that and more when we come back to Locally New England.
Locally New England is brought to you by Charahoe Furniture, beautifully crafted American-made home furnishings. First Hyundai, North Attleboro. Save every day at First Hyundai. And Some Pump Geeks. We service all brands.
Every year, New Englanders look forward to A Christmas Carol. And so joining us today is Ann Scuria. Scuria. Welcome to the show, Ann.
Thank you.
Ann plays Scrooge in A Christmas Carol.
That's right.
That's got to be exciting for you as an actor to be able to portray such a character.
It's really phenomenal. I've done it 3 other times. This is my 4th time, but I haven't done it in 22 years.
Really?
So the last time I did it, I was 50.
Okay.
And now I'm 72, and it makes a huge difference. When you're 50, you're kind of midlife, maybe, you know what I mean? But when you're 72, you're not. And it makes it that much more important and immediate. To change, you've got to get on it, to change your whole life around.
And speaking of change, you're right, and speaking of change, now the Christmas Carol is going to be shown this year, first time ever, at the Providence Performing Arts Center.
Right.
How do you like the sound of that?
It's really exciting. I have never performed at PPAC.
Okay.
And I think the upstairs theater at Trinity holds about between 550 and 600, and PPAC holds 3,000.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a real challenge, but we have terrific people working on the show, and we're so excited.
I mean, it's a great venue and it's a great show. I have always loved this show. As far as like the day-to-day for an actor to come and portray a character like Scrooge over and over and over again. People may not understand how hard that is to deliver the same sort of routine, but with feeling and being in the moment. Are there any shows that stand out for you that more than any others of portraying this character?
You mean other versions of A Christmas Carol?
Well, no, other versions of your own.
Oh, my own work.
Show, yeah.
Wow. Well, I just had the privilege to do Pride and Prejudice at Hartford Stage. And I've done so many. I've been a member of Trinity Rep since before you were born.
Yeah.
Since I think Christmas Carol 1979 was my first show at Trinity. And yeah, I've just seen so many versions and so many of them have their wonderful special points, and yeah, it's so lucky because Trinity is we're renovating the upstairs theater.
Right.
And so it's terrific to have this opportunity, not to miss out on A Christmas Carol, but to be able to do it at PPAC.
Now, do you also teach at Brown?
I do.
As far as just acting, or is there?
I do. I teach acting to the Brown MFA students.
And do you take any of these types of shows and kind of interject that into your
Well, one
material?
of my students is in the show with me this year. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
He's playing, yep. And several of the students have been in Christmas Carol last year or the year before. It's really fun to work with your students. You have to practice what you preach.
Yeah, right? Get out there, show it,
Yeah.
showcase it.
That's right.
Now, there are, of all the shows that you performed, as far as because I know that you were in Who's Virginia Woolf?
Oh, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? That was a phenomenal one.
And
yeah.
So you've had so many different types of shows like that as a former thespian myself
Oh,
years
nice.
and years ago. At least he
Yeah.
studied into it anyways. So understanding the playwrights and understanding what the importance is, how do you feel, as the importance goes, how do you feel what you're portraying as Scrooge, how important is that to you as far as what you're showcasing out there?
Well, it's huge. And it's so interesting because it's a ghost story. Dickens writes a ghost story in 5 staves.
Yeah.
So the first stave, I'm not sure if past, present, future. Yeah, the first stave is just the present now. And then in the first stave, or second stave, which is past, the ghost says, "What is that upon your cheek?" And Scrooge is already crying.
Yeah.
So you've got a long way to go. So you really have to kind of measure it out. And I think the meaner you are at the beginning, the more fun it is, the nicer you are at the end. I mean, everybody knows the story,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
just... But watching it, when we did our first run through the other day, it was really great because Kurt Columbus was there and a bunch of the prop master was there and different people who've seen years and years of Christmas carols, and they still cried. No costumes, no sets, no lights, and they still cried because
Wow.
it's such an amazing
It is.
story.
It's a moving story.
It is. And it's such a hopeful, I mean, there's hope for all of us that we can change and embrace each other, especially in this time. I mean, it's
Well, knowing
we
that
need it now.
that's the energy you're bringing.
Yeah,
Break a leg in the show.
Thank you.
It's going to be outstanding.
I'm
I
so
can't
excited.
Wait to see it. So, but we thank you for coming on the show. We thank you for
you.
being here. Thank you for being in it and a part of it all. And so, you're welcome back anytime. So
Thank you, Joe. I
so much.
appreciate it.
Up next on Locally New England, we sit down with Junior Achievement of Rhode Island. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The mission of Junior Achievement of Rhode Island is to inspire young people to be a part of the global economy. Here with us to talk about this work is Lee Lewis and Casey Riley. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Tell us now, Lee, you're the president of the mission, right? Tell us about the mission. What's the overview of what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, so JA focuses on young people from kindergarten through 12th grade, and we really focus in on 3 areas of the mission, which are work readiness, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship. So that's our main goal, and we work with the board of directors and probably about 700 to 800 community volunteers
Wow.
that help us reach that mission.
Wow. And now, Casey, you're one of the board of directors, right? You're on the board here.
I'm on the board of directors.
And now you guys have an expo coming up, JA Inspire. Tell us a little bit about that, what's happening with that.
So JA Inspire is a program for work readiness, focuses on 8th graders. There'll be 5,800 roughly students from across Rhode Island that will come to the Rhode Island Convention Center. And they'll learn about career opportunities. They'll have a chance to engage with employers and industries on different occupations.
Now, I understand that you are also the COO of Newport Restaurant Group.
That's correct.
So how does having these 8th graders, why is the 8th grade an important grade to get these students involved to start to understand the connection between these companies?
So that's really I think the mark for most that people would say in development, right, at 14 roughly, 13, 14 years old, where kids really need a little bit more understanding of how to understand their potential and how to maximize their potential. And for us in the hospitality industry, it's a great age to engage with young people who are thinking about a career. We have a lot of entry-level jobs in our industry, which tend to lead to other jobs for people.
Right.
But it's also an opportunity for us to showcase the hospitality industry as a career option.
As a career option. Now, I love the idea of the entrepreneurship, if anybody else can say that properly. I love the idea of getting these students involved with understanding that and their finances early on. Lee, I guess this question would be for you. As far as all the programs that you have, what is what do you think is, from your perspective, what do you think is the most important thing for these students learning that type of thing, moving on to businesses or working for companies and finding a career in the future?
I think it's first and foremost is what they're passionate about.
Okay.
I think that when you come to Inspire, they've done some curriculum and pre-work to that. They're coming with questions to ask the employer. And our number one question from 8th graders is, how much can I make? Which is really top of mind. And how am I going to pay for life after high school and or college? And so we ask our employers to come prepared to ask those hard questions, but to be real with the kids. You're not going to leave high school or college making the executive salary. You're going to be entry level. So to set that realistic expectation for the young people, so they can start to plan and budget. Am I going to stay in mom and dad's basement for a couple of years, or am I going to try to venture out and get roommates and have my own apartment? And by understanding salaries and benefits, they can start to imagine what their future could be beyond high school and or college.
Now we have the expo coming up on the 10th, December 10th through the 12th.
Correct.
As far as what message you want to tell either students and families and or companies that want to get involved and want to cooperate, how can they reach you and find out to get involved and get inspired and get on board?
Sure. Well, they can go to our website, jainspireri.org, or call our offices at 401-331-3850.
Well, you heard it here, folks, first, and we appreciate you guys coming on the show, and I think you're doing a great job. This is a great mission because I feel like I needed that type of mission when I was growing up, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we sit down with the Providence Performing Arts Center. Stay tuned for more Locally New England.
Locally New England is brought to you by Cheraho Furniture, beautifully crafted American-made home furnishings. First Hyundai, North Attleboro. Save every day at First Hyundai. And Some Pump Geeks. We service all brands.
Welcome back to Locally New England. I'm Joe Guarnieri, and today we have a special guest from the Providence Performing Arts Center, Mr. Lynn Singleton, who is the president. Welcome to the show. You have some exciting news for us as far as the holiday season and all the holiday shows you guys get coming up. Yeah. We got some special ones I want to talk about. You guys normally have Hamilton coming up, which is a repeat, right? That's coming back. But let's get into right away the Trinity Rep Christmas Carol collaboration. Tell us about that.
Well, so far it's been fabulous. We open later this week with some school performances. The show's doing very well. Of course, our capacity is much larger, even though we're only playing it to like 60% of the house. First balcony, the rest is closed. And they've got a bigger stage to play with and be more adventuresome artistically. And it's an unusual cadence of shows in that we open this week, we run through early December, and then we load Hamilton in for 2 weeks, which is doing exceptionally well, especially given it's the third time in the market. And then Hamilton leaves after 2 weeks, and then Trinity loads back in, and they do until New Year's Eve. Actually, we just finished a run of Mamma Mia this week. Between now, when Trinity opens with Christmas Carol, we do not have a dark day in the building until New Year's Eve. So my staff loves me this time of year.
Right.
And I think it'll be a great experience for not only artistically for Trinity, because they got a little more room to play with on stage, but I think it would be for patrons.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, as far as that goes, is there the potential, and now we know that we've had them in the past on the show, and I know that they're going under construction, which is why they're coming to PPAC this time around, but is there a potential in the future that maybe we squeeze them in, seeing that they can load in, load out?
Yeah.
In the future, we'll see them again at PPAC, maybe?
I think that's a jump ball.
Yeah, I know.
And it's an artistic decision. I'm sure they're like everybody dealing with construction prices right now. Whatever the price was pre-COVID, now the price now is a lot more, and things are like backed up to get that job done. So it's still a jump ball, but we'll see how this one goes and whether they like the space or whether it works for them, and we'll go from there.
I'm excited to see it for the first time there. But you said some lights going on, speaking of which, we have the Mannheim Steamroller, which is a crazy looking show. I mean, as far as the excitement and lights and everything.
Well, we do it about every 3 years, and it's kind of the TSO without the guitars, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And we used to do it at Vets, but it would sell Vets out every year, and now we're doing it at PPAC, and it'll do well. I mean, just the market in general, kind of from 50 feet, we've had a spectacular fall. Retail-wise, we opened 2 national tours. Both of them did 97% business.
Wow.
The Neil Diamond musical, and then Shucked, which surprised a lot of people how much they enjoyed it. And then we rolled into Mamma Mia, which did 98% business from ticket 1. So we've put about 75,000 people into the city to see a Broadway show in the last 2.5 months.
That's great.
It's amazing. I mean, that's selling at the Civic Center 7 or 8 times. And because of that, you know, it's like anything. We have momentum, and you have a lot of eyes seeing what's coming forward. And I was pleasantly surprised. Hamilton, even though we've done it 2 other times, we're at about 65, 70% a couple of weeks out. And Trinity's about probably 35, 40%. But I think my take is, this is my own personal opinion, people really they really don't focus on Christmas till around Thanksgiving.
Right.
And especially this year when there was so much noise with the election, and so that distracted them. So now we're hopefully past the noise of the election, and Thanksgiving is next week, and so it'll, of course we don't have winter anymore, so there's no snow, and this weekend was stunningly nice.
I know.
So that we'll kind of start to transition into that. And then,
no reason not to come and see a show.
Yeah, and with Christmas Carol with Trinity, there are a lot of people that's a tradition. I think they kind of alternate. They would go, and this is my opinion, they would go see one year the Nutcracker, which we have up at Vets again this year, and then the next year they take the family to see Christmas Carol, and then maybe the next year if we had a Broadway show like Elf or Grinch, they would rotate into that. And so this year we don't have that. We don't have a holiday show like the national touring shows like Elf or Grinch. So it works out well for them marketing-wise.
And you guys got a lot of other shows coming up. But before we go, I know you have the MJ, the musical, coming in after the first of the year.
Yeah.
So as far as what people can go, where can people go to find some of these shows, the listing of everything, as far as where can they go online to find everything?
That's easy. That's a softball. We're the only proscenium theater north of New York that sells their own tickets.
Okay.
If you buy a ticket in Boston, you actually call Ticketmaster in Albany, New York. So I'm a great believer of you never put a vendor between you and your patron, and it's kind of like Pogo. If you've seen the enemy, it's you. If we make a mistake, we did it. So you can do one of 2 things. You can just simply pick up the phone, and we still sell about 50% of our tickets this way. You call 421-ARTS or 2787, and you talk to the operators, or you go online, www.ppacri.org, and order them online. And the thing I stress to everybody, make sure even when it's not only us, you buy your ticket from the original source.
Very good.
That it comes from. Because what happens is if you go to a broker or that type of individual, if there's a problem, once they have your credit card and they charge you, they may be in Hungary, and you'll never talk to them again. So pick up the phone, call us at 421-ARTS, 2787, or just go online, www.ppacri.org.
Well, Len, we appreciate you coming on the show. You know where to go, where to see these shows, and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Up next on Locally New England, we sit down with the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. Stay tuned. Food insecurity is a very common situation that a lot of people face in the community around here and in Rhode Island. It's such a large problem. The stats speak for themselves. I mean, just how many people in this community experience this?
Meredith, it's actually 1 in 3 households with children in the state of Rhode Island that are experiencing food insecurity, which means on a consistent basis they can't afford to feed the family the amount of food they need.
For anybody who's watching this and thinking, I am someone whose family is experiencing food insecurity, what is the easiest way for them to seek assistance in this way?
Sure. So right on our website, there is a big link that says Find Food. And that page has a map of the entire state. You can enter in where you're located, and it shows the nearest food pantries, meal sites, and other distribution programs. So the best way for folks to help us out at the food bank is with donations.
Donations. Very
We
good.
actually purchase a lot of the food that we distribute. It helps us to, get a better price on the food. We buy from wholesalers and distributors at a low cost. It helps us get more, and it helps us acquire healthy, culturally relevant foods that people want to serve their families.
Okay.
So the best way to support our efforts is to make a donation.
And I think food insecurity is something that it spreads far and wide here, but especially around the holidays, if anyone's watching this and thinks of this as a cause near and dear to their heart, they should definitely donate to such an important cause.
For sure, for sure.
Speaking of which, donations, and for those who are in the insecurity on that portion, how do they get a hold of you? How does someone find you guys, websites or anything like that?
So it's rifoodbank.org.
Okay.
And it's that Find Food button that will get people to the pantry closest to them so that they can go get support.
A super important topic, and around the holidays, people are thinking about ways that they can give back. So great timing to have you on the show, Kate. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that'll do it for this episode. We look forward to seeing you next time. Happy holidays and Happy New Year from all of us here at Locally New England.